don't see anything.
Hi.
Hello, Dulcie.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. We are live here once again with Astrology Victoria with
With Dulcie and
Tatiana. And today, Dulcie, let's not get so excited just right away. Don't jump into this before.
being very calm, stone cold sober moon.
Let's just take 2 minutes. No, that's too long. But 5 seconds to breathe. 1, 2, 3. Let's breathe. Deep breath. Compose. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. All right.
Oh,
Now let's talk. This is important, people, because today we are talking about what, Dulcie?
well, we have a full moon in Capricorn coming up. So that means that the moon is completely opposite the sun. So the moon is in Capricorn and the sun is in Cancer. And this should be happening tomorrow, June 24th. Well, depending on where you are, but for us here, we're in Victoria, Canada, and that's for most of North America. It would be on the 24th.
And this full moon, as we know, every time there is a full moon, there is a theme that comes to full blossoming. There's something being exposed, shown, so we can internalize what it is that these themes that appear for us are showing us, so we can keep moving forward and have the most flowy life possible within the ride of life. And this particular full moon is like super charged of other things going on. It's not just this moon in Capricorn. Um, it's it's gonna be highlighting a lot of stuff that could be going on. So Dulcie, would you want to pull up the chart?
Yeah, let's do that. Go to our full moon here. All right, so I'll draw a circle around the sun and the moon. So they are completely opposing each other. Let's see if I can get those aspects. There we go, with the moon. So should we talk about moon in Capricorn first, what that can mean?
Yes. So Dulcie, yeah, the moon in Capricorn. So if you have not seen our videos on the basics of the signs, you can also go back to our channel and see the videos to get a little bit more of the depth of each sign. However, as we know, Capricorn is an earth sign. It's grounded, it's feminine, it's in it's cardinal. So it's kind of a proactive, but at the same time, grounded sign. And when we have the moon there, the moon represents nurturing, safety, emotional security. So for moon in Capricorn in general, whenever there is a moon in Capricorn, emotions are not necessarily all over the place. Emotions are contained because Capricorn is ruled by who, Dulcie?
By Saturn.
Saturn, and Saturn is our master container of reality. It's the container of limitations, boundaries, structures, and reality. So a moon in Capricorn tends to contain the emotional nature that could like go crazy in water or too passionate in fire, and say, okay, maybe this is not the time to be in an emotional upheaval, but maybe get a little bit more consistent with our emotions, with our purpose, with how we feel, maybe review. Because this full moon is going to be ruled by Saturn, that is also retrograde. So it's like reviewing what inside of us, where we need to take responsibility for our emotions. That's a little bit of that the Capricornian theme is take responsibility for how we feel and how we can act in the world thereby. Is there anything you would like to add to that?
Sure. Yeah. So with the moon in Capricorn, we might be feeling a little bit more reserved and having that sense of responsibility or a desire to do what needs to be done to get the job done, to take initiative, to take on a leadership role, and to be disciplined. So our goals, since this is Capricorn and it's all about what we're working towards, putting one step in front of the other, our goals might be at the forefront of our mind. And since it's a full moon, this is kind of the blossoming of what we have put in place up until now. And so you're thinking about what your goals are, what you've done so far to get there, and what still needs to be done. And also recognizing that you have put in a lot of work so far, even though you might not feel like you want to pat yourself on the back, or you feel like you haven't done enough. You've still put in a certain amount of work, and that can be appreciated. So yeah, like Tatiana said, this isn't necessarily like a lovey-dovey or emotional kind of moon. It's a stone cold sober moon. It's a I'm gonna
Work moon.
yeah. I'm gonna keep a straight face. I'm gonna keep my mind clear, and I'm gonna work and get the job done.
So actually, you might be feeling, because we do have a little sextile here from Jupiter, which
Mhm.
also, instead of making it a very pessimistic moon about like, oh, I have to do all these things and I don't feel like it, I feel the burden of responsibility, it's more like, I really want to do this. This moon helps us to say, you know what, I feel like this is where I'm going. And if we're overly emotional, what can happen is that then it's harder to focus and concentrate on the things that actually need action. um, so by having a more reserved sense of our emotional nature, we can actually be more realistic and take a look around us and say, okay, maybe I need to be in this like space of containment, emotional containment. And this moon is asking, is helping us go there, especially and more particularly anybody who is having a lunar return. What does this mean? If you have your moon in your natal chart at 3 degrees, the little three by the moon sign there, 3 degrees of Capricorn, you're going to have a lunar return. So themes, these themes are going to carry out for you for the next month. So maybe it's a month to, okay, hold the emotional nature in. Maybe you might feel that there's more responsibility. That could feel like that, like, oh, I'm really responsible for my own emotions and for what I do, right? And it's emotional containment. So that's a little bit about our moon. And I think this moon is giving us also something really wonderful, a wonderful gift, which we will see when we see the other aspects that are playing out right now. This moon is a good container for the other stuff. Otherwise, things could really fly off the handle, you know, and be very explosive. So um, what is another major theme that right now is kind of like highlighted? The T square.
Yeah. So okay. So you mentioned Jupiter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of bringing in that hope, that positivity. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's a positive.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily a burdensome feeling. It's more like, okay, I have responsibilities. I'm responsible for my emotions, for my, and because it's opposing, the moon is in Capricorn and the sun is in Cancer, so is this the axis of security. This is the main axis of security and foundations. But security can only happen when I have a sense of inner security, of emotional foundation. So of course the moon in Capricorn tends to compensate for maybe lack of emotional foundation by doing in the world and achieving goals. So what happens here is we need to, in this, when we have this full moons, it's like, how do we balance those energies of how I feel safe in myself without having to prove anything necessarily in the world, but get just disciplined with what I want to achieve and accomplish. And Jupiter is kind of helping with that and beaming a little energy saying, yeah, if you kind of sit with your emotions and you contain yourself and you're able to see what needs to get done, then you can just get to it, and you get to it happily, not burdensomely. I think that's that.
Okay, so then next we were looking at this. You wanted to do the T-square, so Uranus.
I think the T-square is really important. And so a T-square, what it means that we have three planets forming a 90-degree angle to each other. And the point of this T-square is Uranus. So Dulcie, if you want to maybe draw the little lines for people,
Oh yeah, sure.
beginners, if you're not like, if you're kind of new to astrology, this is important to understand what a T-square is. So you see
We
it's like T.
have Mars opposite Saturn, and then it's crossed by Uranus.
It's like a T. Exactly, it's a T.
Mm.
So Uranus, the point of the T, it's creating tension. This is pulling these planets, their agendas are pulling in different directions. So there can be a conflict, and this will see it also maybe play out in the world, or specifically people that have anything in the signs of Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, or Aquarius. If you have any planet or angular house, so your ascendant, your midheaven, your IC, or your descendant, anything on the angular houses, so houses 1, 4, 7, or 10, you will feel that if those signs, especially around the, probably around the 8th degree to the 15th degree, around those degrees, you will feel this energy strong. And this energy is an inner tension. So, on the one hand, we have the point of tension is Uranus. We need to change something. Change is of the essence. Uranus, change, individuation, evolution. We need to jump. Like the old, it's gone. So there's this pull. We need to move towards that new sense of individuality, freedom. We're trying to free ourselves from something and get into a different level of stability, security. Uranus and Taurus, right? New ways of being sustainable. So, but there's this pressure cooker that Uranus is electric. And the T-square is being, on the one side, pulled by Mars. So, Dulcie, would you want to talk a little bit about this Mars pulling on that side and what Mars in Leo wants to do?
Yeah, sure. So this reminded me a lot of my childhood, just wanting to try new things and just having these ideas all of a sudden and wanting to do it. Um, Whereas my mother would be Saturn saying, maybe let's think about it. Let's wait a week. And so Mars and Leo, Mars in general just doesn't want to wait at all. Mars wants it now. Mars
Go.
has the idea, has the drive, and he goes.
Yeah, go. Like,
Not thinking about it too much, no. And especially in a fire sign, he is just able to just catch flame and just go right away. So Mars and Leo, he might be pretty. He could be wanting to express his love for somebody or his self-love, or get an idea for what something that could be pleasurable and it have give him some joy, or he could be experiencing some tendencies towards arrogance as well, hot-headedness. Mhm.
hot-headed Mars, right?
What's that?
Hot-headed or arrogant or entitled as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So um
wanting to exert its will for freedom, basically, because Uranus on that T-square like that is pulling towards freedom of expression, the new thing, change, evolution. And Mars is like, okay, I got it. This is what I want to do. This is me. This is my self-expression. This is what I want, me, and I want it now. And then let's just do it without thought. And then this could create a very revolutionary, Uranus also is the revolutionary, but Mars there is almost like let's get to it now. So if it's an angry impulse, because Mars could also get heated very fast and just with anger go and lash out somehow. And the Mars Uranus is like this restless fast energy that could create accidents because you're not thinking. So Uranus is like it's so fast that you don't know when you just fell and had an accident. So with Mars Uranus, you want to be careful and like take things slowly. Even like if you're going, I don't know, um, yeah, like doing something, be careful with knives or things that are sharp. Mars rules over sharp objects. So because you could be restless and then you're cooking and then you cut your finger. I mean, these are silly examples, but on a larger scale, that's the energy of it. It's the energy of restless action and sometimes thoughtless action and impulsive action and then sudden action. So this restlessness could cause some havoc. So on the other side of the T square, we have Mr. Saturn, right? And Mr. Saturn. It's both feminine and Saturn and Saturness.
Yeah.
And
breaks.
Saturn is literally applying the brake. First of all, is pulling back into old, outmoded things or structures, but at the same time, is saying, okay, people, if you want something new, okay, fair enough. You want something new, completely radical new systems. You want to express yourself. You want to be able to have a different way of gathering resources and feeling safe. Okay, we'll get all that. However, how are we going to do this? You just not throw yourself like a crazy person. You gotta give thought. And not Mars, Saturn is also retrograde. So it's not only just pulling, so nothing might be happening. The restrictions, we might not be feeling them so badly, like in the external world. But now with Saturn that has been going retrograde for a while, it's kind of going back through those themes in Aquarius of those new structures that are wanting to be birthed, because Saturn is both the ruler of Aquarius, but also Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. So it's almost like all these new themes that are wanting to be birthed in our society and reality do require a thoughtful structure. Something, so inside of us is almost like, what are my new structures? How do they look like? Do I like actually what I began in when the whole stellium was in Aquarius, back in, was it in February? I think it was at the end of February. We had all these planets in Aquarius, or at the mid-February, and there was all these new things happening and all this impetus. And now it's like, well, is this impetus that is what's happening there what we really want to create? Were those the good ideas? Is the way we're trying to implement the new things the right way to do it? So all these are kind of Saturn pulling and saying, hold the horses, hold the horses, hold your own horses. And so that's a little bit basically what could happen is like somebody goes crazy and just like storming the Capitol, like kind of that energy of like, woohoo, revolution.
That would never happen.
Stick to arms and kill everybody. And it's like, wait, what happened? No, wait, no. There's other ways to do this, right? That's what Saturn is there for. So what else do you want to say about that T square?
I mean that, yeah, you said it all. And this will look different in people's lives. We can kind of give a general overview, but it depends on where this is happening in your chart, what other planets it's hitting. But this is the general idea where you might be feeling an urge, but there's something that's stopping you. There's something that's limiting you, whether it's your own kind of inner thoughts of, okay, maybe I should think this through, or perhaps there's something external that is stopping you.
Yeah, certain limitations, but these limitations are there for a reason, because Saturn wants to do things well, properly, and things that will last. Good quality Saturn. You don't make the thing that you're gonna make just fast and then it's just gonna break in 2 seconds. You want to create the thing that will last. So that's why Saturn keeps pulling in this T square all these impulses of self liberation, or uh I got it, I got the first, I want to do this right now. It's like, yeah, 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 let's do it. you know Give it a thought first. And I know it's all these new ideas. There's so many new ideas coming into the planet right now, so much energy being beamed into how to create these new systems. Um, and fighting, as we can see, like there's lots of revolution happening everywhere. This is a little bit that question. Is a lot of the fighting that's going on is against those structures and old structures, but there's new structures being birthed. But the question is, like, is this fighting and for the sake of fighting, like, necessary, or are there other ways of approaching this? So our T square could feel inside internally like that, especially if you have any planets, like I mentioned, at around, 8 to 15 degrees of the fixed signs. Which, by the way, guess who has it? Me! I have exactly Uranus at 13 degrees of Scorpio. So this is speaking to me very, very deeply. And then at the end of the video, so stay tuned until the very end, we'll give you some tools and practices if this is impacting you and you feel that you have no stability, because this Uranus feels very, very unstable. It's like it's unstable ground. Is action, but then there's inaction, but then there's desire. It's like you're being pulled like this. This is how it feels. I'm acting it out so you can see. I'm gonna do it again. That's how it feels. So if you're feeling like that, we'll give you some tools and other energies you can kind of draw from, so that this transit doesn't feel like you're gonna just kaboom, you know. um, that's one thing. The other thing we have there, and it's very prominent right now as well, is dun dun drum roll. What other aspect is gonna be like hot, hot, hot?
All right, so we have Venus opposite Pluto here, which is, so this could be expressed in quite a few different ways. But two ways that I kind of focused on, and Tatiana and I, we had discussed before, regarding relationships, whether it's with somebody you're in a romantic relationship with, or other females, or close friends, mothers, sisters, because of the Venus, the Venusian energy, the female energy, as well as perhaps like drastic changes to the body, or to your how you express your physical self, your beauty. So this could be like doing an intensive cleansing the entire body, cleansing the colon is very Plutonic as well. Or people who lose a lot of weight and then they have the extra skin, they can go to a surgeon and have that extra skin removed. That's, I would say that's very Venus Pluto. So drastically transforming your look,
Yeah.
metamorphosis aspect to Pluto, and then the beauty, your physical appearance of Venus.
Yeah, from a more like inner sense of that kind of energy, because it's an opposition. It's the Venusian themes that Dulcie was mentioning about beauty, uh, around, there's also money, because Venus deals with abundance, self-worth, worthiness. So worthiness and money is the same energy. So money, relationships, what do I attract? Remember that Venus is the quintessential magnet of the zodiac. Right? Venus attracts. So is our sense of attraction as well. What we attract, how we pull in things. That's why Venus deals with all these themes. So relationships, how we relate. So having Pluto there, well, this is where, because it's an opposition, Pluto is talking to Venus and saying, well, there's going to be maybe power plays in relationships. Maybe there's going to be the nasty stuff that comes up in relationships, and you have to kind of air your dirty laundry. That could come up. Airing up dirty laundry in relationships to yourself. If you're not necessarily in a romantic relationship or partnership, it could be like how the relationship to yourself, your sense of self nurturing, because it's also Venus in Cancer, could come up as well. Like all these things that in our life have caused us not to love ourselves could come up. Fears around, am I beautiful, am I safe, do I feel good? It's like maybe issues with the mother, issues with maybe, and maybe it's also kind of an internal thing. It could be an internal sensation. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that happens. It could be something that comes up for us that we remember, or an emotion that we tap into, because Pluto wants to uproot and show the shadow so we can move with it. So some themes that could be on the shadow side of this tension is a tendency towards obsessive attractions, feelings of jealousy and possessiveness, passive aggression or manipulation, and a love of power. This is from Van Butler's The Archetypal Universe, that we absolutely love. Um, so these themes could come up in your relationships. And again, especially if you have anything touching those degrees of your chart, of the um, uh, of the cardinal signs. So this is 27 Cancer, around 27, 26 Pluto, um, Aries, 27 Aries, or 27 Libra. And guess who's being touched by this too? Me! I have this whole full moon on me. So if you have any planets there, you might want to look into these themes of Venus and Pluto and see maybe if you are attracting situations that either uh, make you be manipulated by somebody. That could be one way. Or if you are seeing in your own shadow that you are wanting to overpower, manipulate somebody, or just want so much to be loved that you need to exert power and control instead of like self nurturing. So you see here, the question is, can you self nurture and self care for yourself and self love so much and soothe yourself that you don't have to go and, you know, exert power over others to gain something from them, you know, which is a little bit of Pluto going through this Capricorn, where we're dismantling these structures where it's getting more and more and more power, more up here, and on detriment of other people's, right? So here the question is can you self-soothe? Can you be loving and tender to yourself? Or are you going to have to see the nasty things that you have inside and work with them? So yeah, this could bring up a lot of that in lots of relationship drama in the lots of soap opera could come up these in this during this transit. A lot of soap opera. So if you are in the soap opera, this is a good time to reflect on those themes and see where you're not able to release those mechanisms of power, control, manipulation, obsession, in relationships and money.
Yeah. And it also points to transformation and overcoming certain things within relationships or within the self. So
Maybe
things like you said, getting under the surface, with a partner, discovering something that has been blocking them or holding them back, that comes to light, and being able to solve your issue with between each other because of that information coming to light. Or I saw a post by my cousin on Facebook. She did the Wim Hof retreat, where they learn to breathe a certain way, and then they can sit in a tub of ice cold water. And so I just saw a picture of her doing that, and her comments to it were that it was absolutely transformative. I have no words. I feel like I can do anything now. So it's kind of the other side of the going into the underground and coming back out again. You've mastered that very difficult task, and now you feel like you can just do anything.
Yeah, like that moon in Capricorn was very, you can actually block, or not block, but just restrain or contain something, get into that cold bath. This is great because I feel what we just talked about with the T square, with Uranus, Mars, Saturn, all that heat, the repression, aggression, revolution, and all of that. And then Pluto and Venus, like all the nasty things that could happen, jealousy, drama, all of that. It's there, right? And it could be there for you if it's touching you, your personal chart. And what happens here now is, okay, so we have this opportunity of this full moon to hold your horses, stop, breathe, do the Wim Hof, get into the ice cold tub. You don't have to literally do that, but you could do a metaphoric, ice bath, and
Mhm.
let it slowly melt, you know. And we do have a few very supportive aspects. So now we're going to give you some tools to, if you're on the end of that dramatic, drastic, difficult, or pulling in all directions kind of thing inside, then we have some things that we can do. So that's a great thing. You could sit in a cold ice bath and do Wim Hof breath if you're brave enough to do that, for sure. But you don't have to do that. I feel that we have a beautiful, beautiful still trine to from Uranus, not Uranus, from Neptune
Mm.
to Venus, and that is really the other side of this. This is the soothing balm of that other energy. So hold on to that. And we have also a trine of Jupiter to the sun. So wow, those two things are really the what I call the lifesavers. This is the hope. Jupiter, Pluto can feel like everything I am is big. I am, and I am, and I feel. I mean, I am great.
Jupiter Sun.
What?
Jupiter Sun.
Jupiter Sun is this like sense of expansive, that what I am is beautiful, is wonderful, is big. It's everything's okay. I'm trusting, like, because the sun is my identity, is I, is the I am. So this I am touched by big Jupiter gives hope, and also puts this big bomb on like what you are is wonderful. Express it. It's wonderful. And then we have the other balm of Neptune, Venus, which can be bringing beauty and music and art. And so, if you're caught up in the other energy of drama and still, well, maybe you can create some kind of wonderful artistic thing, you know, turn it into art. If you're experiencing all those other internal emotions, turn it into art. Or maybe listen to some kind of music that will put you in a different vibe, or a music that you love that expresses more, more sensual, sexy nature of also the Venus Pluto, that can be very sensual and sexual too, or a love for the darker themes, right? So maybe put some like sensual music and just relish on it, like to express that energy. These are outlets or channels for that energy to move. So if you're caught in that other harsher energy, move it through art. The other beautiful way to do it, if you're, and I said this the last time because this still applies, is water. Using water as a cleanse. You can either do a water cleanse of some sort, so drink a lot of water to cleanse, be by the water, listen to the sound of water, if because all of this will connect you more to that Neptunian and Jupiterian energy. Also, what happens? Jupiter is retrograde. So, because it's retrograding, all the changes and things that could have happened in the very recent um, past, in the very recent weeks, are now that Jupiter is going retrograde. It's almost saying, okay, now a lot of that is not happening anymore. The things already happened out there. Now the energy turns back in, so you can integrate all those changes and make sure that you're adapting and going like, okay, all these changes, all that moved is it's now time to integrate it. And Jupiter gives us hope, gives us a sense of purpose, destiny, and also Neptune. There's something higher, basically, that has pushed us into all these changes that are happening. These changes are all happening out there, and the world, and that Uranian pool of change and evolution is coupled with this almost like trusting energy that everything's fine, you're held, you're okay, nothing's like, it's good, it's all good, being you, it's all good, did you find what you love, that's good. We've been talking about this time being a time to find what is it that you love, that makes you truly happy, that makes your heart sing and expand. And you could have those feelings as well at the same time as the other stuff is happening. So I would say latch onto that by actively using those energies that are happening and seeing it within your environment. Um, Meditation, connection to yourself, to the beautiful things that you consider to be beautiful. Maybe more feminine things. We have Venus in Cancer, so soothing, and that's been a theme for a while. But things you love and make you feel good. What things make you feel sensual and beautiful and comforted? Go get a massage. I don't know, something that can release all of that tension. That's like my little take on that. What do you have to say about that, Dulcie? Those supportive.
That all sounds great. I mean, yeah, just taking a moment, taking that time to do something that you enjoy, whether it's something with the arts, something with feeling something physical, physical sensations like the heat of the sun or the soothing, um, a soothing bath. Um, for me, it is just sitting in the sun and just kind of reading a book or just sitting there thinking or journaling, or just looking at astrology charts, something like that, just to boost my mood and then be ready to get back into a discussion with somebody or back into my day with a more positive outlook.
Yeah, and then thus we also have Mercury that's in the mix, also so in a supportive trine to Saturn, which, I mean, essentially we can show that like little Mercury over there with Mercury.
Yeah, he's direct now, which is helpful.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that's so great because Mercury was retrograde. So it was for the past 3 weeks, it was like almost directing all the energy or our thought energy within us to see if we could change our way of thinking and repattern that. And now it's direct, so now we can actually communicate efficiently. All that we have found in these past 3 weeks is going to be more easily communicated and more grounded, because Saturn and Mercury are kind of like, hello. So Saturn and Mercury are communicating right now. So instead of lashing out and doing something completely rational, you can first fact check. Gemini wants to gather information, and Gemini Mercury wants to gather information, and it's in Gemini, it's its own sign. It wants to fact check, learn, gather, and then communicate. And with Saturn being in a supportive aspect, it could communicate with clarity, with precision, you know, calmly. It doesn't have to be like, or rashly. It could be calm. It could be, again, the mind gets structured in a way, that 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 whatever we're feeling, again, that moon may be in Capricorn and more gathered. We can gather facts before acting irrationally or rashly, like that Mars kind of wants to go. So Saturn's saying no, it's no time for that. So this is a good time to fact check. If you're not sure of your decisions or things that have happened, well, do another fact check, and make sure you've got all the right things so you make your next decisions, instead of like jumping like a crazy person to the next thing because you just feel like it, or because you know um, so this is a good time for that. And of course, this energy will be kind of in action for like this week, more or less. Like you'll feel all this energy, um, especially like the Mercury moves fast, or the moon will of course be gone from the Capricorn. But once you take advantage, like in these 2 days, of this more grounded energy, you can probably get a lot done, and advance your life for good into those new structures, those new ways of being that we're like now finally finding that there are ways or things that are happening for us. Things are going to slowly kind of fall into place in the midst of all this crazy things that we're also working with. So it's not always everything over there. We have a bunch of mixtures. So that's that. Dulcie, anything else about that Mercury?
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to things kind of being a bit more smooth technologically, for me anyways. But yeah, I'm excited about that Mercury, and might be helpful for just, yeah, working things out with other people, or might boost our communication with other people during a time when restrictions are lifting, and the kind of intermingling of people. Um, it's been a couple of years since we've really socialized with with people, so we might need the help of that Mercury.
Exactly. And talking things out, talking things out, almost talking our findings, what we've been going through. All of that could be a very good outlet for our new ideas, and also a lot of the new ideas that can be communicated at this time. You know, because Mercury is in an air sign and Saturn's in an air sign, so all these ideas that are maybe great ideas, if you have a great idea, instead of acting on it rashly or something, you can go, hey, I had this light bulb moment, and I have a few ideas or great ideas, and communicating ideas, and then maybe somebody can help you ground it. Or even yourself might be able to say, wow, this is actually doable, like this, like this, like that, even though it's still a thought and not necessarily an action. But you could start feeling like you could actually move towards action, as especially when Mars is going to get into Virgo. That's going to be action time. That's when you're going to do it and get to work, and and put in the word, the hours and the diligence, and so right now you can more enjoy, like you say, it's a little time of, there's a bunch of retrograde planets too. So uh, it's kind of that time of, okay, let's integrate all the momentum that came from the beginning of the year and all the turmoil. And this is a time to kind of like, ooh, it's kind of slowing down, so we can, okay, integrate all of that and slowly put out all our new findings. So this is a good time. So again, this is valid for this time, this little period of time that you're in. Um, so yeah, look out for drama, like really. Like that's what like the ding 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 red flags is look out for drama or situations where there could be drama. I would even say don't jump in them, avoid it. If you can, say give it a, like Dulce said at the beginning, like wait, don't just jump in the situation because it feels like, oh, I don't know, I met somebody and this is this crazy attraction, I'm just going to jump into that right away and then maybe end up in a weird triangle of mess or something like that. It's like, no, think about it, give it a thought, don't jump into it. Cool. uh, Saturn also deals with consequences. You know, Saturn is the one that says to every action a consequence. So that's why Saturn's there pulling. So I would kind of team up a little bit more with Saturn at this point because the Uranian and Mars energy is too strong. So teaming up with Saturn just means do it little by little, you know, do it consciously. That's Saturn's invitation. Saturn doesn't, Saturn's always depicted as the bad guy, but it's not. Saturn is just the one that tells us structures and reality need. There's a manual for reality, and if you've read the manual of reality, which is Saturn manual, well, you can live better in reality. You can create a better reality. That's basically what Saturn is saying. So well, let's team up with good old Sat, you know. All right, Dulcie. Anything else about that? Because I could go on forever. You know me.
Nothing to add. I think we've covered it all.
So, last but not least, thank you very much for being here, seeing this, sharing it with somebody that if you know people are going through things. You can also follow us on Astrology Victoria on Facebook, on Meetup, and on Instagram. Like, share, subscribe, the whole shenanigan of the YouTubers. Yay! And
Yeah,
yeah,
and we have a speaker next Tuesday,
we
June 29th. Was that
yeah,
our day?
Tuesday, June 29th at 7 p.m. Pacific. We have Gretchen Hickmott, who is going to be giving an amazing talk um, around creative um, creativity in for astrologers, like how to incline signs.
Intuition. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. So whether you're new to astrology or you're like an astrologer, our speakers always give these very interesting talks that are you could all of you could gain some value from. So we would encourage you to come and be part of that. You can ask questions, be engaged with the talk. It's on Zoom, so we'll leave all the information also below. Why not, right?
Totally.
Leave the link below um, for Gretchen's talk. And yeah, I think that's
All
it.
right. Okay. Well, thanks, Tatiana. Thanks everyone for joining in.
Very much.
See you next time.
Go and wrap it up as usual. Thank you. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.
I love you as usual. Love you.